What if I told you that 80% of profitable traders use a technique that most retail traders have never heard of? Okay, I'm just joking, but I figured that catch your attention. Today, I wanted to talk about composites. There's two types of composites, market profile composites and volume composites, and it's fairly straightforward to use. So I just wanted to talk about it because every time I mention it, people think I'm talking about the theory of relativity. So we're going to get into that. But if you're watching this video, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. I greatly appreciate all the support. Okay, so what are composites? Composites basically just means that you're aggregating multiple trading sessions. Now, if you follow my updates on Twitter, you've seen me talk about 6-day composites, multiple day composites. You could do week composites, monthly composites. So it's just the time duration is aggregated and you basically add up the sessions, whether it's volume or time. In this visual here, I'm showing time. I haven't talked about TPO much, but if there's interest, I can start breaking all that stuff down. There's plenty of information out there regarding that, but if you want to hear it from me, I can certainly go ahead and do that.
Hey guys, have you ever heard of goldfish attention span? Well, if you click off the video right now, that's what you got. While you're here, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you.
So in this visual here, this is a time-based composite, but the same thing is true for volume composites as well. Basically, this is an example, and I've also added this to my highlights on my Twitter profile. And as you can see, these are each individual sessions. So you can see here, there's 6 sessions, and the value area is marked out for each session, and they're overlapping fairly closely. Now, the rule of thumb is you can form a composite if the value area for a session is overlapping by about 50%. But you don't have to use a mathematical rule. You can kind of just eyeball it and see when price is rotating between two areas. I typically just aggregate it into a composite. And in this example here, you can see 6 sessions that are in relative balance, and balance just means consolidating or rotating in a tight range. And you can see how little the value area is shifting between each of these sessions. So these are 6 individual sessions, and in this example, I've shown that I've just basically formed a composite. So now you can see the profile, and this is TPO, which is time price opportunity. It's just showing the amount of time spent at each price level, and for volume, essentially adds up the volume at each price level, right? So here you could see it's giving us the value for the 6-day composite versus the individual sessions, and now you can see the aggregate area where 68% of the time in this range is being spent. So this is your value area high, value area low, and your point of control, and this is just showing how each of these areas provided a reaction and how it can be used. So you could see that price rotated. What followed the 6-day composite is basically price rotated towards the low side of value, and then based on auction market theory, when price accepts into balance, it rotates from one side of value to the other. That's what happened. And then once it broke out of this value, it flipped this area into support. Then you had this trending move to the upside. There was some sideways price action here, a breakdown. Once price broke down from here, it revisited the high side of value, basically accepted back into value, rotated to the other side, and then broke down where value area low was resistance, and there was a further breakdown. So this is just kind of showing how you can clean up and look for, especially when there's agreement in terms of value over multiple sessions, you can kind of clean up any noise and aggregate all that information just so you can quickly look at where value lies and where there's excess and if there's any anomalies in the profiles. Again, I've talked about this in prior videos, but there's these theories or EMT rules that can be used as general frameworks. This is a cheat sheet that I have in my highlight section, so you can go check that out as well. And this is how you can kind of use composites in addition to some of these rules. Like once price steps back into a higher time frame composite, you can see that price action gets choppy. Once it breaks out, you want to see if price is going to accept outside of value versus rejecting and accepting back inside. Going to walk through a couple of examples in real time. One thing I do want to point out before we go into some of the examples is responsiveness and initiative behavior. This is from ATIS, so you can look up ATIS auction market theory, and essentially it's just pointing towards 2 types of trades, one being reversion from extremes of value or breaks outside of value towards perceived or anticipated fair value within balance, and the other one is initiative, where when price is breaking outside of an extended period of value, if there's aggression shown once price breaks outside of the value, you can now trade it towards the other side meaning either a trending move towards the upside or a breakdown towards the downside. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go through some quick examples. This is a Bitcoin chart on a 1 hour. Just going to find some areas that we can form a composite. We'll do both for volume and time. I've covered fixed range volume profiles in a prior video, so go check that out if you haven't already. And also visible range volume profile, which in this chart is on the left side. But basically, fairly straightforward. If we take a look here, just using naked eye, you can see that there's, this period of balance here. So what we can do is mark this out with fixed range volume profile. Doesn't need to be precise. I really just use these as general areas, so I'm not really looking for accuracy here. Basically, this was a 6-day composite. It's a volume composite, right? So it went from the 25th of June to the 1st of July, and then we got this breakdown. We see price was rotating fairly tight in this range between 107.8 and 106.8. So this was where value was being established. We got these attempted breaks above, which failed, and then you got this rotation to the other side and break below. And then as you can see, this was a higher time frame composite, which is where this is the point of control that's being shown. Got a reaction from that general area, and then again could have used this general area as a reference point. And you can see how this composite, when it's flipped, we got this trending move to the upside, and then once this move failed, or there's a failed auction above, we're literally trading right around that area. So you can see this is the high side of value, and this is where value was being developed, and you can see that currently we're trading right above that, right into this area here. And so how can we use this? We can look at this as kind of a reference point where there was some value developed. You can see here based on volume, and what we can say is, hey, if price starts accepting back into this area, we can assume that all this entire area is up for rotation, and then if that's lost, might revisit lower. And then the opposite is true as well. There's this kind of like low volume sideways price action, and if you look at real-time market data, you can determine what's going on here. But if there's any aggression that comes in on this side, it essentially just shows that we've accepted outside of this balance area here. We're not accepting inside. So yeah, that's how this can be used. I can show like a higher time frame example as well. This is on the 6 hour, and again, this is the composite that we're talking about. It's around 54 days. Again, same thing. This is where your value is. You've seen quite a few reactions and failed breakouts from this value already. And this time around, we attempted to break out, which failed. And then we rotated to the point of control where we got this trending move. And currently we're sitting right on the border of value. So it's fairly, if you want to keep it fairly simple, you just think of this general area as a good pivot for continued upside. And if you start accepting back below, you can possibly rotate to the other side of value. So again, a composite, it's not rocket science. It's literally just adding up either the volumes over multiple sessions or time. And I can quickly go to a time example as well. I haven't covered TPO, but again, if you're interested in that, I can cover anomalies and kind of break it down in a simple way. Okay, so now I have the time price opportunity turned on in TradingView. I don't really have this set up, but the same general rule applies. We can see these sessions here. So this is on the 30-minute. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions where the value was overlapping for the most part. So you can again create a composite if you wanted to aggregate the behavior for these 6 days. It's fairly straightforward. You just right click. I think TradingView, it's a bit more clunky, to be honest, like to create composites. I typically use exocharts, as I've mentioned before, but you just merge with previous profile, and on exocharts you can merge multiple sessions. I don't think you can do that on TradingView, but basically the same idea. You could just merge these. Okay, so now you have the 6-day composite, and we can see this. The high side of value is around 107.8, and the low side is around 106.8. And you can see that currently we're literally right above this general area. And this is also right on the border of the higher time frame composite that we were looking at earlier. So this is literally at around the value area high of that 50-day composite. So as you can tell, this general area is a bit of a pivot, and either way, I think it's good to pay attention in terms of what goes on here. We did have like a poor high that was left behind on this session here, so with a little bit of a push, I think we take out some of these stops. But either way, I think that pretty much covers what I wanted to say about composites. Again, it's not rocket science, it's not complicated. We're literally just adding up behavior over multiple sessions, especially when they're consolidating around the same range. And really what it does is you can organize information in a more clear manner for multiple sessions and avoid the noise. So I use these pretty extensively. Hope that was helpful. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, drop a comment. I greatly appreciate all the support, and we will be back in another video. Thanks.